Hello everyone on the internet, my followers on Instagram that may be dropping in, followers on SoundCloud who may be passing by, or if you're new here and you just happen to click on this podcast, I'd like to welcome you to Fueled by Coffee Podcast. My name is Matt, and today we have quite an interesting and possibly a downer episode. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm trying to look at the comedic aspects of it, but it was also a very terrible time in my life. So we're going to see where this goes. Today we are talking my unhappy birthday, my 21st birthday. That was just not good. It effectively ruined birthdays for me for the last couple years. So we're going to get into that. Today, I am back in the saddle with the fan favorite, the critically acclaimed, one that people have been raving about ever since the Q-Mart Wrestling, Diner Wars, Christmas, and most recently hot dog topping episodes.
Well, I'm flattered.
I'm back with my brother-in-law Sean, so everyone give Sean a Fueled by Coffee round of applause. We're going to be, because he was there for this experience. This was like a family thing. We initially wanted
Everyone was there.
We initially wanted to get both of my sisters on, but they were kind of like iffy about it. So we're just gonna jump in and shit all over everyone involved.
God,
we've taken the X-Lax. We have drank coffee.
Oh God,
no, it's
all the coffees.
But Sean was there. It was like my whole family was there, and they witnessed what a downer of an evening it was.
That's horrible. It's horrible.
We're going to jump into...
I mean, we had some fun.
There was some fun at the end.
When somebody wasn't around.
When the downer... when the clown car... We were just listening to Clown Car in the car.
Clown Core.
Clown Core, sorry.
And the album is called Van, I believe.
It's very weird. If you like The Garden, you will like it.
See, I told you, it's similar, right?
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, there's no actual singing. I think it's just like obnoxious yelling.
If you've heard
screaming.
the most recent Garden album, then there you go.
It's really good shit, as Vince McMahon would say.
But yeah, so we got an interesting episode on deck. This is something we've been talking about doing since last fall.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It was going to be a Parks episode,
time coming,
and I just figured it wouldn't have fit in 20 minutes. Definitely not.
Yeah, no.
So we're going to jump in, as always, drinking coffee this week.
No, we're not.
We're back.
Well, I'm not.
Sean finished his, as always. If you're a regular listener, you would know. Sean finishes his coffee before me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we were, bullshitting for a while before.
I have like 15 minutes of B-reel that I just cut. But aside from that, we are back with my babies, who actually just sent me a message the other day.
Your babies? Who?
Oh, actually, I guess I would be their baby, because they're the corporation.
Yeah. So what? I mean,
we're back with Wawa.
With Mama Wawa.
Mama Wawa. They sent me a message on Instagram at the time of this recording, probably like 3 days ago, and their new burger came out, which is...
I can't wait, dude. I need it.
The only problem is that it's only available after 4 p.m., but...
Such a bitch.
It is so worth it. It is delicious. There's no reason... say you want just a quick burger, there's no reason to go to any fast food restaurant. Not that I ate at them anyways. It tastes like Burger King, but it's higher quality. And their fries taste like Arby's, but they're higher quality. So good. But Wawa... They reached out to me. They sent me a message and they said, "Hey, we'd love to send you some burger swag."
Yeah.
And then they told me to send
burger Wawa.
I think that's what I think that's what they're sending me.
I want one of those.
So so by the time this episode drops, I should have some sort of burger merch, which you can find on my Instagram. If you go check out Fueled by Coffee Pod on Instagram, I post there most regularly. So go check us out. Give us a follow.
So hold on, sorry to interrupt.
What?
But so all this Wawa, please sponsor me. Is it happening?
I think we're baby steps. They put me on their story around Christmas time.
We're right on the cusp.
They've responded to me on Twitter multiple times. They're giving me merch now. I told them that we love them at the podcast and we talk about them all the time, and they actually messaged me back. Yeah, so Wawa endorsement may be on the horizon.
I hope so.
I hope so too. We love them. But today drinking Wawa coffee, the cinnamon bun with some French vanilla creamer, and it's good. This is the second time I've had it. It just honestly, I just dripped on my long johns. It smells like the holiday blend, and it tastes very similar to that of the holiday blend. Maybe not as spiced, but if you like the holiday blend, cinnamon gun, holy shit!
What the hell?
Cinnamon bun, give it a go. It's pretty good. Just to recap,
I had the Cuban, if anyone cares.
the Cuban.
I like dark roast.
Sean
and
likes
medium roast. I don't go for the lights.
Well, this was
Or
a
the
medium
mild.
roast. I
That
thought
was mild.
Was it a mild?
Mild is light.
See, I was going for taste. I was going for and something
Well,
different.
see, for me, I've
haven't-
never found a mild that tastes good.
I haven't
period.
had this one on the pod yet. That's why I went
Okay.
for it.
Yeah.
Trying something
Makes
different. We've had a different coffee every episode so far. So
Have you? Blueberry, blueberry, blueberry,
No.
blueberry,
Well, that-
blueberry, blueberry.
I think every Parks episode was blueberry.
New England, New England, New England, blueberry, New England.
New England
blueberry.
actually hit
I
me
know.
up recently too. So like, yeah,
Yeah. Hey.
We're
Yeah,
getting-
I mean, it's good coffee.
we're getting.
so-
We're
Shit.
getting somewhere. So far, we've had a lot of bones, and I think a chock
you?
full of nuts on one episode.
Yeah,
on every
chock full of
episode
nuts
so
was
far.
there. You had a bunch of Death Wish.
Just to recap, so far I've talked with Aaron about PMA. I have talked with Pete about my cousin's girlfriend's house. We talked about how disappointing the Eagles are right now. Actually, this episode drops after the draft, so they may not be disappointing by this point, but last year they were. Talked with Aaron about my old music project, Union Coffee Break. Geeked out with Rob a little bit. Talked, there's something for everyone.
Rob Zaccardi?
No, Robitussin from Peapod.
Oh,
So
nice.
I've talked with quite a few people about quite a few different things. There's something for everyone, lots of music. So if you're into that, go check out the Season 3 playlist. And again, just check us out on Instagram to see what we have available. We have so much content out right now, and the podcast is growing because of all of you. So, just huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting. I really appreciate it. But we're going to jump right into this shit show. In case you missed it, last season, Sean and I talked about our experience going to Q-Mart Wrestling for a whole year, generated a little bit of controversy with one of the insiders. We also ranked our favorite diners that we've been to,
Yeah, that's
which
right.
is a
We did
pretty
that.
loved episode from
Good.
the reception
Awesome.
I've gotten. I was, there are people I feel like that listened to it that I wasn't expecting to listen to it, and they're like, yeah, that was really cool. Like,
I mean, even though COVID, we should probably hit some new ones up
I know.
and rank those.
I know.
And then compare to rank them versus the already ranked.
You know what I think the problem is? It is exactly what you said. Like, I feel like a lot of these places we would go to, it was always like after 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right.
And now everywhere closes at like 8 o'clock. We had a great Christmas episode. That is, I think that's almost like the dark horse. Like, people glossed over the Christmas ones. And that one I just re-listened to, and it was hilarious. And then most recently, Sean and I did the Parks episode.
I wanted to add something.
About hot dogs. Hot dog toppings. Is a
Yeah.
hot dog a sandwich? Which we had a hot debate about on Instagram, which was a lot of fun. But what would you like to add?
I wanted to say something about, I never thought about, a hot dog by itself is it's still a hot dog. Like, without the bun, it's still a hot dog. So, I mean, technically, a hot dog is not a sandwich.
Okay,
So I'm changing my position.
So here's the thing. I did a poll on Instagram. Sean was the only one to vote yes. I don't vote on my own polls because I think it's cheating.
No, it's not.
Sean was the only one to vote yes. It was like a 1-6 vote. And then I did a question
That
afterwards.
is me, though. I always go against the grain.
Where I said, why is a hot dog not a sandwich? And of course there was, the typical,
Because it is.
yeah. And then I think
Because
that
it isn't, I mean.
that one was Kayla.
Oh,
She was
okay.
like, because a hot dog's a hot dog.
Right. I mean,
To be fair.
yeah, I agree.
And then, but the one that Sean's mentioning about a hot dog is still a hot dog without a bun. My old friend Jack, who I have not talked to in a very long time, just randomly responded to the poll and threw some shower thoughts at us.
He's always one to make you think, for sure.
And
makes you reevaluate your life.
Shout out in the parking lot of the Brewworks at 2 in the morning.
that was so much fun.
That could be an episode in and of itself.
Jack, I missed that. Just
I missed
that
too. But you know what? Well, actually, you know what? The Brewworks is still open till 2 a.m. So technically,
oh wow.
But the last 2 experiences I had there were awful.
I mean, all we need is the parking lot anyway. So
yeah. But yeah, no. So shout out to Jack. Shout out to Jack for that answer. If you're listening, if you listen regularly, let me know. So that's what I did. So anyways,
oh god.
So yeah, we had a lot of great episodes together, and all the feedback I've gotten, people think Sean is just phenomenal. So Sean, round of applause for you.
Well, it makes me feel good.
We got a great finale coming up at the end of the season. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but it's going to be a multi-man meat fest.
Oh god.
Is that what the episode's going to be called? Multi-man meat fest.
That's perfect.
So,
I think you coined the phrase right there.
Be on the lookout for that coming September, I think. But yeah, so jumping right in, my 21st birthday was ruined. It was ruined by my ex-girlfriend, and we are going to get into that. But I wanted to ask Sean first, before we get into this disaster, this travesty. Have you ever had a birthday that was just like either subpar or was just like totally ruined, like something just totally went wrong, or someone was like, you know what, screw you, Sean, your birthday doesn't matter, like...
Well, like I'm not really big on my own birthday. It's just another day for me, honestly. But you saying about 21st birthdays, I kind of ruined my own. Like we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The entire night. Back then I was drinking a lot, and
was this when Amanda had to come pick you up?
Yeah, I drank way too much. I couldn't see straight. I don't even know how I was still alive at this point. But yeah, I ended up, there was just too much going on. I slammed my head into the car door.
I was hoping you remembered that.
Like Amanda lit a cigarette, and I couldn't even talk. Like I was like trying to get her to pull over, open the door, threw up, and then slammed my head in the door after she was like, "Don't slam your," and I was boom. So get to my dad's house where I was living at the time, and she pretty much drug me through the door, and my dad just watched her the whole time. And then
thanks, Dad.
Somehow, yeah, right, thanks. And somehow I ended up in his downstairs bathroom throwing up like crazy, passed out on the floor.
Didn't your cigarettes fall into the toilet?
I'm getting there.
Okay, all right, sorry.
But then at some point I crawled up the stairs to my bed, and then the next day I came down and my dad was like, "Hey, are you missing a pack of cigarettes?" And I was like, I don't even know. And he's like, "'Cause I found a pack in the toilet and it looked like only 3 were missing out of it." And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." So I didn't smoke for a good month after that, and I felt sick for like 2 weeks after that. It was horrible. I had alcohol poisoning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But so I ruined my own 21st birthday.
I remember when that happened, dude. I think it was like a Friday night, and I was sitting here watching SmackDown because I was like 12, 13 years old. Or no, I would have been 11 because you're 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
I was 11 watching wrestling, and Amanda was here, and like she was like waiting to hear from you because you guys were like out hanging out, like you and your one friend or something like that.
Yeah, and me and Waddy.
I just remember hearing about you slamming your head in the door, and that dude, I always have remembered.
When your 21st birthday starts with Bacardi 151 on fire and every other kind of liquor imaginable. I mean, took a shot with his dad of gin, and oh my god, it was just insane, dude. Everything. Dirty Girl Scouts and Irish car bombs, and it's disgusting to think about.
Great now though, because like you don't drink at all now.
Nope.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
It just shows that what Rocky said in Rocky 4 was true. If I can change and you can change, everyone can change.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Oh God! Again, 2 in this episode.
That's like an inside joke between Sean and I for those who are like, "What?" It's maybe to be explained at a later date.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe never. Do you deserve to know? Ask yourself this question. Do you? I'm talking to you out there.
So that's what I did.
Oh, God, 3
All right,
now.
that's enough.
Holy
All right.
shit.
Well, yeah.
Don't do that again.
So
Don't do it again. I can't handle it.
So it's funny that you mentioned your 21st, because that was actually my point. I was going to ask was like your 21st because of you.
Yeah.
That story.
Okay.
But that's great that was like your answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I can really think of. Like,
yeah. Well, and I have maybe one other birthday, and I don't even say it was ruined. My friends ruined it for me. My birthday in 4th grade. I turned 10, probably.
I don't even know. How old are you in 4th grade?
I don't even know. I just remember I was in 4th grade, and I had over like JT, for those who know from last season. He and I did an episode about backyard wrestling. I had him over. I had a couple of my more like timid, quiet friends over from school. I was friends with this guy named Chris, who was just obnoxious and loud the whole time, always. And like, we were up in the middle of the night. Like, we were going to sleep in the living room because there was like probably 4 or 5 of us. I don't know if you remember this story.
I think I do, but
so
I need a refresher.
We're downstairs, and, of course, the loud guys are being loud. And, we're in 4th grade. 4th graders know a lot more than their parents think they know. But I just, like, I want to say it was the year I started, like, incorporating dirty language into my language. But like, my mom never would have known that because, like, And so we're downstairs. It's probably, like, midnight, 1 in the morning. And these couple of guys love JT. He and I are super cool now, like, different place, different time. They're just being loud and saying all sorts of dirty, disgusting things. Like, I remember Chris said something.
It is the one I'm thinking of.
Chris said something to my one friend, because my one friend was wearing like a wife beater and his nipple was hanging out. And Chris said something about, oh, look, your titty, like whatever. And then Jeremy, this was the icing on the cake. There's just some things being said. Jeremy, JT, said something about some show that his friend had seen where the guy said something about, you must suck the cock. And we were like, dude, that was really loud. Like, shut up. And then, so what does he do? He does it even louder. And
it's like playing the penis game.
Yeah. And we're like, dude, so he does it again. Well, wouldn't you know, my mom comes flying down the stairs, because apparently she was listening to this conversation from the top of the stairs for a good 5 or 10 minutes. Comes flying down the stairs, drops the F-bomb like 3 times on all of us, totally scares the shit out of everyone. She was like, I don't want to hear another f***ing word out of any of you. Go the fuck to bed. And it was like one of those things where like me and my, you remember Nick, Blade of Grass? Like, super quiet kid.
Oh my God.
Like, and my friend Anthony at the time, super quiet, nice kid. Like, the 3 of us were mortified. And then, she just basically struck the fear of God into, like, JT and this kid, Chris. They were scared shitless, and we all just laid there like sardines in a row on the living room floor, dead silent. And then I remember, like, afterwards my mom came to me the next day, and she's like, hey, like, I wasn't yelling at you. Like, I was just really sick of what they were saying. It was inappropriate, like, not cool.
As a parent, I'd be pretty pissed off, too, honestly.
So, like, that's, like, one of those stories that's just so funny to look back on now. But at the time, it was, I had never seen my mom so furious. And the fact that she dropped an F-bomb 3 times on 10-year-olds was just, it was terrifying. But now it's hilarious. I think it's like one of the funniest things.
Good shit.
But I guess the only birthday I really had ruined was my 21st. To give a backstory, I feel like this is crucial. I've been in a serious long-term relationship for almost 6 years at this point. I don't want to sound like, because people could easily say like, oh, well, you're just saying that in hindsight, but like, you learn so much in hindsight, and like, as you move forward and you grow, and like, I think for me, I spent pretty much my whole adolescence in a relationship, which is the biggest mistake I think I've ever made, especially because it wasn't like a constructive relationship. It was one of those
toxic.
It was very toxic, but I was so infatuated. I'm glad I remembered the word, because I always forget that word.
Yeah, I never understood how or why.
I was just so infatuated with this person I was with, and it was very toxic. And like, as Sean has reminded me today, like, they could do no wrong in my eyes, which is true. I would always just make excuses and be like, oh no.
Yeah, I always felt like no matter what I said, you'd be like, oh no, and then like end up hating me.
Here's the disclaimer. Anything that we say today, this is not to make me sound like a saint or like a perfect person, because I was by no means an amazing boyfriend. Like I definitely had my flaws at the time, and I had things that I definitely did wrong that were shitty, and like I was, there are so many things now that I'm just like, whatever. Like, you learn what battles to pick and choose.
Right.
You learn how to fight those battles in a more logical and less emotional way. You know?
It's hard when you're that young and the hormones are flying, and you're
Exactly.
you don't even know, anything.
And I think the infatuation with this person came from the fact that, like, we met so young. I was like a sophomore in high school. She was a freshman. And we were both emotionally insecure and unstable. She more so than I. But when you spend so much time around a person, it rubs off. You tend to take on those personality traits. And so I became very emotionally just like a ticking time bomb, like ready to freaking explode at any moment.
Yep.
And so
always isolating.
Yeah, like there's so much I've done. For those who haven't listened to the podcast, entirely, I am in a different relationship now. I had a long period of time where I was single. Best thing that ever happened to me. Getting dumped when you're so attached to someone. I was so just like devastated, and I was like, this is it. My life is over. This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. But what came out of that was so many cool experiences, which I'm going to get to at the end of the podcast. We're going to end this thing on a positive. But there was so much that I didn't do growing up because I was with this person, because they didn't push my boundaries. They pushed my boundaries in the wrong way, but they didn't push me to be like a greater version of myself. They didn't say like, no, go for that extra mile, like be your best self. I was eating unhealthy. I was not as active as I am now. I was not as adventurous and spontaneous as I am now. It was just like I was in this vicious cycle of just like a boring life. Like I that's all I can put it as now, is like,
Yeah, y'all were like in your 80s, in
exactly.
your teens.
Exactly. So,
/ early 20s. Like, what?
And like going along with the emotional instability, there was a lot thrown on my shoulders at such a young age, which the positive that comes out of it is I think I know how to better deal with certain situations now. It was a learning experience, but to be 15, 16, 17 years old and have your girlfriend constantly threatening to harm herself and not actually going to like therapy, and the thing is, her family
not doing anything about it.
Her family was no support system. Like, I was the support system. So to be 15 years old and have all that thrown on you, and like because of that, I've constantly felt, because of this emotional instability, we would hang out every single day. And
it was extremely fucking annoying when I moved back home and couldn't hang out with Matt
from
anymore.
the time I was 15 until I was 21, a little bit after 21, I was with this person all the time. And here's the thing, like, at a young age, you need friends, which I pretty much was isolated from all of them. And it wasn't necessarily her telling me I couldn't, but I think it was because I felt so much responsibility for her that I cut myself off from my friends, because
like, felt bad because you knew she was just going to be like in her room or something by herself.
Yeah, when I was the one
doing something she shouldn't have been doing. I don't know.
I was the one who was always dealing with the self-harm, the aftermath. I was the one seeing that, and that was like crushing to me.
Of course.
Just the negative of this relationship was that like I was so isolated, and I just never had that motivation or like that push. Like it was just a toxic family on her end. My family basically became a refuge for her. Which in the end was not. She totally just spit in everyone's face.
Spit.
I'm trying.
Shit.
I'm really trying not demonize this person, because,
well,
I don't want this to.
You don't want to do that.
I don't want myself to sound like so negative and like I'm so perfect. Like I said.
Yeah. Or like you're still like salty about the whole thing.
But
like,
I'm just trying to paint the picture for everyone. Like,
of course.
There's so much I learned.
Facts are facts, man. She was stunting your growth.
I've just become so much more like, I guess, wise to situations and how to handle things and like what's worth fighting for. But like the first couple years, just emotionally charged, absolutely terrible. And then like we hit like a stretch where things were like okay, like there was a balance. Like I could actually have alone time. Like there'd be nights where I'd be like, hey, like I kind of just want to do my thing, is that cool? And she'd be like, yeah, which was fine, but we still hung out like 5 days of the week, maybe more, but then like, and I felt like I started hanging out with my friends again, and like, there was like a little bit more of a balance. Things were going a little bit better. But then, 2018, I should have noticed that like we had already hit the peak and we were on the downward slope then. 2019 hits. And the thing is like there was just this constant annoyance. Like now I notice myself and like how I am around different people, and just even when I'm alone and like I have my moments where I get really annoyed at stuff, and it's like stupid, like it's normal. But this was like she was always doing something that just like pissed me off, or like just like got on my nerves, and it was like there was this constant like friction.
Yeah.
It was one of those things, and the best way I can describe it is we brought out the worst in each other.
Right.
It was one of those relationships like let's compare it to football. Tom Brady and the Patriots. I hated both of them when they were together. I mean, I still hate Tom Brady. Fuck the Buccaneers. But it was one of those things where as soon as he left, I was like, you know what? I hated them together. I no longer hate them as much now that they're separate. Because they were just a constant source of evil when they were together.
Dude, what would you do if he would have went to the Eagles? What would you do? Would you just like?
Well, I would have just
switched teams.
I would have just went full gear on the Browns then, honestly, because I love Baker Mayfield.
Oh my God!
By the way, thank you for getting rid of Carson Wentz, Eagles. That was the greatest thing you have done. Jalen Hurts season, boys, let's go. But anyways,
you need Big Dick Nick back.
There was a rumor that they were going to trade Carson to the Bears in exchange for Big Dick Nick.
Oh God, that'd be great.
But it didn't happen. But
sad.
It was just one of those things where like we just brought out the worst in each other. I'm sure from what everyone listening can gather, it was just not a positive thing. It was not good.
Yeah.
And so like because I was so infatuated by this person, I was, blind. I wasn't as aware as I am now of things. There was no like Sean and I just
you had the horse blinders on, man.
Sean and I just talked about the importance of being able to like call each other on your mistakes in a relationship, and not to like put each other down, but to be like, hey, like you really screwed up here, and then be like, oh, I'm sorry, like let's make it better.
Well, yeah, that's how you grow.
And like there was none of that. Like if I would try and call her on something, she would get mad and start a fight. Mm-hmm. Or she would try and call me on things based on her insecurities. Like here's another thing. She went through my phone behind my back because she thought I was cheating on her.
Yeah, she was super sneaky, dude.
When she had no reason to think I was cheating on her, and I wasn't at all.
Well, it was probably because she was cheating on you. Oh,
there's a
theory.
There's a lot of theories I have, honestly. I also want to say, it's not to say we didn't have good times together. There were plenty of times where I remember we had like, days or weeks where like things were great and like I felt like things were going well. But if you look at the overall picture of it, there was so much going on that I was not aware of, which is, hindsight's 20/20. You live, you learn, you move on. It was like building a house on sand, basically. So 2019 rolls around. I turned 21. For my 21st birthday, so those who know me or who have been listening to the podcast in full know that I don't drink. I am straight edge. I don't drink, smoke, do any sort of drugs. I just live my life clean, and that's, not to judge anyone who does those things. That's just my personal preference of how I want to live.
Yep.
Shout out to CM Punk. Please sponsor me. But yeah, so for my 21st, I didn't want to like go out and drink. I didn't want to, I was like, you know what? Let's go to a casino, because like casino lights, games, fun,
Yeah.
And
it's the one thing that you're legal to do now that you actually want to do.
Exactly.
Or, I mean, yeah, that's not like forcing you to do something that you don't want to do.
Exactly. It's just like, let's go have a fun night as a family. And the plan was to go, so living where we live right down the road from the Sands Casino in Bethlehem. I guess now it's Wind Creek. Wind Creek.
Yeah.
There's a Perkins down the street, and I was like, hey, let's go to Perkins. It was like myself, my grandparents, who are both casino lovers. Like,
wait, was that the day that your dad was trying to get your mom to order off of the senior menu or whatever?
Oh, that might have been.
He got that mush.
Whatever, yes, whatever the hell that was. We will tell that story.
Oh, God, that was horrible.
Yeah,
so funny.
So like, it was like my grandparents who love going to casinos. They were like gung ho. They were like, "Yes, Matt, we're gonna go to a casino for your birthday. Yeah. That's amazing."
So great.
And then my parents, Amanda, Sean, Albert, and my ex-girlfriend. Albert, my ex-girlfriend was a year younger than me, and my younger sister Albert's like a teenager. So like, they were gonna go to dinner with us. And then what we wanted to do is at the Sands, they have this like outlet mall where they have a Carlo's bakery. Those who don't know, Cake Boss. They have a Cake Boss bakery there. We were gonna go get cake there, get coffee, and then those who could go in the casino, we were gonna go in and play the slots. And those who couldn't were just gonna like, they were supposed to like just come home and chill out and watch a movie. Like that's what they had planned on.
Yep.
But as history would have it,
it wasn't good enough.
Wasn't good enough, and the person with the notoriously short temper ruined the evening. But so my 21st birthday, we initially planned to do this in January because that's when my birthday is. We were gonna do it on like a Saturday, I want to say. I was unemployed at the time. I had quit warehousing, and I was in between warehousing and my baking job. So it was like, hey, let's just whatever weekend you're off, because Sean has a weekend off. We're gonna do this thing. The night before, my mom had gotten a migraine, which carried into the next day, and so then of course we have to postpone Matt's birthday plans because we can't go without Mom. Of course, Saint Diane. For those who have listened to the Christmas episodes, so Mom has a migraine the day we're supposed to go. So we end up just not doing it, and then it's like April, like 3 months goes by, and my mom's like, Matt, we still have to go out for your birthday. And I was like, yeah, I know. So we planned to do it. I think it was like the end of April or something like that. And it ended up working out. It was, I feel like we need an alias.
What was that thing? Momo or?
Momo! Okay. So my ex-girlfriend, we're going to call her Momo. And people are probably like, dude, you're such a dick. But if you remember the Momo thing that was going around the internet,
she had the nose.
Especially now, post breakup story, lost way too much weight in a short amount of time. I have my theories on that, but she looks like Momo now. Especially the angle that she took all of her pictures at made her face super long. She almost looked like she could be twins with Ozzy.
The dog?
Yeah, with his long face.
Oh, God,
the long face twins.
Yeah.
But
yep.
My point is, so we're going to use the alias Momo. I wouldn't be surprised if she, and this is another thing, she was very obsessive over people, and she would stalk people on social media. So I'm sure she has stalked me at some point in the last 2 years.
She probably listens to all the episodes.
Yeah.
Now she's going to get upset.
I don't even care.
And make her own podcast.
Dude, with how she...
Welcome to the Salty Cunt Podcast.
Oh my God. Here's my thing. With how much she hurt me at the end of the relationship, I like... It's just one of those things. I went through so much, which is not a good time for me. But, yeah. Momo. So Momo worked that Saturday, and they were getting. So it was basically we have to wait for them to get out of work, of course.
Of course.
And the plan was, the gang was all going to meet up at my parents' house, and we were going to go to Perkins from there with our convoy of like 1,000 vehicles. So we go to Perkins, and of course there's like 20,000 of us at Perkins.
What?
Again, if you've listened to the Christmas episode, you know that our family is large. So we sit down, get our food, and Sean, would you like to? You just happened to bring up this one-off story.
I was sitting across from him, I guess, right?
Yeah, you were sitting across from my dad, Frankfurter, Frank the Tank.
He yells across the restaurant. No, what wasn't your mom on the other side, or
probably? He's
like, "Oh, Diane, we can get off of the senior menu or whatever." And she's
they're both over 50 at this point.
She's like, you could do that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. I love it.
It's funny. They're like so opposite, where it's like my dad's like, I'm getting old, and my mom's like, I'm not going to let myself get old.
Yeah, no, exactly. But
it's just so funny.
So anyway, so he actually did order something off of that menu.
Yeah, we couldn't believe it. We were all like, are you kidding?
What the hell was it, dude? Like, it just looked like a pile of shit.
It looked like a mush pile.
Yeah, like it was just a pile of brown. Like
they got slop out of the pig trough.
It's like a roast or something, but it was like totally obliterated.
It was like if there was like bread with roast and potatoes and gravy
in a blender
just in a pile. Just looked like slop.
Yeah, it was disgusting. It just looked really soft and like
and soggy and wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously for people who have no teeth anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why when you're still, relatively young and,
Have all of your
you
teeth.
have your teeth, you don't order off of that menu.
Yeah.
So learn from him.
So that being said, we all get our food. We have a good meal. We had fun.
Of course.
It was a great time.
Perkins is always on point.
Kayla hates Perkins.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, what? Oh my God. Never mind.
But we love Perkins.
Weirdo.
So the time comes to leave Perkins and go to the casino, which is literally a 5-minute drive down the road, probably less than 5 minutes down the road.
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
This is where it got ruined, guys. So get ready.
This is where it all went wrong.
This is the climax of the story.
Well, it's a long climax then, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well, okay. So we all get in the car, and this, Momo is like, I don't know how to get there, and
I didn't even want to drive.
She would just like start freaking out over stuff. Like, instead of staying calm, obviously this is something I've learned in my new life. I always refer to these things as my past life.
Yeah.
This is like,
you were born again.
I was just gonna say, it's almost like I was born again. But
born again Matthew.
Like, driving, you have to be calm and pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And she would frequently, like, if she missed a turn, she would freak out and be like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, just chill out and take the next turn, you idiot. Like,
Right.
So this is
not
the thing.
hard.
We had Grammy and Pop in their car. We had mom and dad in their car. You guys in your car. And then me and Momo and Albert in her car.
Yep.
Poor Albert. My younger sister was there
Albert.
witnessing this. But at least I had a witness so that people didn't think I was crazy.
Well, and hopefully she learns from your mistakes.
I try and preach to her, don't waste your time on relationships at your age.
Right.
Especially her going to the dancing school.
Those people seem to be fickle.
But my thing is just focus on your your passion.
on your career. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've tried to tell her that before,
because
too.
that was the mistake I made. Was like, I was so focused on this relationship that I passed up so many opportunities, or I just didn't focus as much on things that should have been more important, like music or friends or what have you not.
Healthy things.
Yeah. Going on adventures, like, doing things and not feeling so like, oh, I can't do that because I won't see this person that day. Just like stupid stuff, which I touched on in a previous episode with Rob. But my point is, there's like 4 or 5 cars in this convoy that's going to that's closing in on the casino. We leave Perkins. It's literally, you turn out onto, 3rd Street, and you just drive down the street, and you have to turn left into the parking garage. That's it. Not
complicated.
And the whole thing was just follow Grammy and Pop, because they've been there before. They know where to park. They know where exactly to go.
Exactly.
So it's like,
there's how many parking lots? Like, it's one building. So like, you'll find... We have cell phones nowadays.
The plan was just follow them.
Yeah. Too easy.
So as we're driving down this half-mile stretch to the casino, she starts freaking out, like, I don't know where to go, I don't know. And I'm like, there's 2-3 cars in between us and them, like, and we're all going in the same place, just follow the line. And then she starts freaking out and getting late, and she says, like, I didn't even want to fucking drive, like, just freaking out. And like, it was really pissing me off, because I'm like, this is my birthday, this is my day.
Well, she didn't care about that.
And I remember
clearly,
like, she just, I didn't even want to come, I didn't even want to, or it was like, I didn't even want to drive, bitch. And I apologize for my language this episode, but it's just, the reality of the situation.
Didn't you even, like, want to drive yourself? No.
Well, she had to drive because of Albert and her. They couldn't go in the casino with us, so they had to leave.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have driven.
Yeah.
Because I follow directions. She's just bitching my ear off, getting all pissed off, just really upsetting me, because I'm like, this is my day to, like, do something fun. So I got pissed off and I said, well, you didn't have to fucking come. And then she got, like, real pissed then. Poor Albert's listening to this in the car.
Sometimes you just gotta pour a little bit of gasoline on that fire, you know what I mean?
Well, because my thing is like, just, like, follow the train of cars. Stop freaking out.
Not rocket
it's literally
science.
Just driving down the road and turning left.
Yeah.
So we pull into the parking garage, just silent. She's pissed off. She's, like, giving me the silent treatment, as she always did. And so then the thing is there's a lot of floors in the parking garage, and there are some that are employees only. But again, just follow my grandparents.
So many different spots.
We go up a couple floors, and without even, I don't even know what she was thinking, she just rips off from the train of cars onto like a completely random floor. And as we're driving through it, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, and she's like, well, I feel like she either said she thought she saw a spot, and I was like, Momo, it says employee parking on this floor. Like, what are you doing?
Plus, like, all of us were still going up. Like, stay with your party.
Park together.
Yeah.
So she's pissed off because I'm trying to like correct her. And then the thing is the employee section of the parking garage was a lot smaller than, it's a lot tighter. So she, instead of, how parking garages, anyone who's been in one, it's like a square, like you just follow the arrow. If you don't find a spot, you come around and you go out the same way you came in and then go up a floor. Well, doesn't she try and rip a K-turn in this tight little parking lot, almost hitting the cars in front of, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, there's a car trying to pull in behind us. I'm like, what? And she's like, I know what I'm fucking doing, like freaking out. I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me. I didn't even want to fucking drive, like freaking out on me, yelling at me. So then
she drove you guys to the top floor and drove off of the parking garage.
I wished.
Into the river.
At the time, I wished. Because
somebody actually did that on that parking garage.
Oh, no.
Like when it was like being built or something like that. Yeah.
Why?
Super uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't know.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
But speaking of adding fuel to the fire, right? Like,
right.
But no, so she's freaking out, yelling at me. I'm just upset now because I'm like, I'm not happy. Like I'm just sad now. Like I'm upset because you're treating me like shit, basically.
And we could all tell when we met up.
So
again.
Here's the thing. So she pulls off onto another. She finally gets out of this predicament that she puts herself in because she's not thinking about what she's doing. We park somewhere. She's not talking to me. She's pissy as hell. Poor Albert's there with us still.
Poor Albert.
And then like. I think you tried calling.
Everybody
tried calling,
did,
and they were. And
we're
I
like,
think,
where the fuck did they go?
Yeah, and so then we had to like find the floor that my mom and dad and everyone else was on, meet up with them.
Well, and then I think we ended up being in the lobby then.
Yeah. So we end up in the lobby. To this point, she has this look on her face.
It was so obvious when she was angry.
Yeah, like just
or feeling some kind of way.
Yeah, and she was just like. I don't want to say being directly nasty to anyone except for me, but she would like just be very like, no.
She was just a negative ball of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Made you very uncomfortable.
And so like we said like, how do you get to the cake place from here? And they basically said like, well, for those who are 21, you guys just walk straight through. They gave us directions. And they said for those who aren't, just go out the door, follow the perimeter of the building, and it's like the entrance is like right at the end of the sidewalk.
There. Yeah.
So
it's not like you had to go off-roading to your next adventure.
So we part ways and we just tell them like, look, go to the cake place. We'll meet you there in like 5 or 10 minutes. Because like I had to pee. Everyone had to pee basically.
Of course.
And we wanted
just at Perkins.
My Grammy and Pop did not want to have cake. So we were like, let's just set them up on a slot machine.
Right.
And we'll meet back up with them after we have cake.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like we all go take a leak. We set them up on a slot, and my Grammy's starting to give me the rundown because she's like penny slot pro, penny slot pro Arlene, and she's giving me the rundown. She's like, so this is this type of machine, so on and so forth. So we make our way over to the cake place. It was maybe only 10 or 15 minutes.
We took way too long.
No, we didn't.
We took way too long then.
Okay.
She couldn't handle it.
She was so Momo was extremely pissed. So the thing is, the casino's on like the upper floor, so to get down to the cake place you have to go down an escalator. We go down the escalator and she's sitting there at this table with Albert with the
sour look on her face.
Sour look, just absolutely miserable. And she made some sort of comment, and see, things like this, I've had so many positive experiences since then that these types of things I don't remember because they're not important. But she made some sort of comment about like, well, that was a lot longer than 5 minutes. Or you guys took a lot longer than you said you would. Like something really rude and nasty, especially to my mom.
Yeah.
Like apparently when we all came down to the cake thing, to the cake place, she made some sort of comment about how miserable she was to my mom and said like, I wish I was just fucking at home drinking right now. And my mom was like, whoa, like that's out of character. But I didn't, no one told me about this until after the breakup. And I was like, that's not surprising knowing what I know
would
now.
you have believed your mom?
No, I would have been like, come on, Mom.
No, she didn't say that. You misheard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like knowing what I know now after after the fallout of the breakup, now I know. You know, like I wouldn't be surprised if there was, you know, and like my thing is I don't care if you like drink socially or if you like enjoy having a beer, or like when I would go to the Brewworks with the guys and they would get a couple drinks.
Put people down for drinking.
Or like my own girlfriend likes to, like, we'll go out and occasionally she'll be like, oh, I want to get a margarita or a mixed drink. Like, that's fine. Like, by all means, as long as you're responsibly drinking and you don't pressure me, that's all I care about.
Look at how cool I am.
Exactly.
Drinking underage.
So like, I now knowing what I know, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, and that was the thing, is like, if she was ever being nasty to me, she'd put on this front like she was being super nice to everyone else. She was being nasty to my mom, which was like really out of character to be like, you know, for her to not be two-faced. It was really weird. Yeah. So then like, we all get our cake, and my mom's like, oh, do you want cake? Do you want coffee? And she was just like, no, I don't want anything. Just like being a total asshole.
Yeah, like, then go home.
Putting a damper on everything. And the thing is like, we get our cake, and like me being around you guys, having that break in the casino with you guys, like, brought my spirits up. I was like, okay, like, this is going to be fun. You and I are just being goofballs, and like, you could tell she wanted to laugh, but she was just so caught up in like wanting to be a miserable jerk.
Like, I'm not allowed to laugh.
Yeah. So she was just miserable the whole time, just being nasty. And then it got to the point where we're like, okay, time to go in the casino. Like, we had our cake, we had our fun, we're gonna go in the casino.
Delicious cake, by the way.
Delicious cake. Delicious. It was, even though it was frozen, it was still really good.
Still really good. Yeah,
really great. Carlo's Bakery sponsored me.
Did we get red velvet, right?
Yeah,
we both got red velvet.
The red velvet.
It was so good,
so delicious.
So, not the best red velvet I've ever had. I think I talked about that.
The best red velvet I've ever had was at John's Plain and Fancy with the buttercream.
Stop it! Stop it now.
Check out the diner episode. We had some great red velvet cake. I had some great.
It's really good.
My family was very supportive and made me feel a lot better. The plan was Momo was going to take my sister home. They were going to just hang out and watch a movie because, like, you know, they were the only two that couldn't go in the casino. So we go in the casino then. You know, we have fun. We play slots. We play also, you know, I took $20 and I was like, this is it. And that's the thing, is like, $20 can be a night of fun at the casino. I lost all $20, but it was still fun.
But it was $20, you know,
like we played slots.
Yeah.
We played like some of those like wheel games, like You're on the Price is Right, like just like dumb stuff like that. You know, Mom and Amanda were getting
wandered
drinks
around and just stared at people. People watched.
That was when you and I came up with the idea of, what if we get fancy outfits at the thrift store and just go walk around and act fancy for a whole day. Do you remember that? And we never did it because it was like, why would we do that?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
But like, you know, ended up,
it would still be fun.
That ended up flipping the frown upside down, I would say. I had a great time with my family. But like, she was so nasty, and she just put such a damper on the evening. We later found out. We get home and we're like, where's Momo? And Albert was like, she just dropped me off and left. And we were like, oh. And then I had to explain to my mom like what happened. And then I don't remember. I probably explained to you guys at some point, like, and you know, of course you were like, dude, you don't deserve that. Like, you just, and I was just like, well, she's just probably upset, you know. But like, I love her. Yeah, just like being an asshole to myself. So like, she just totally ruined the experience. As I said, my family made it a lot better, but it was just that damper on the evening. Yeah, I was going to
say, I would say it's half ruined.
Yeah. Definitely the worst birthday I've had, just because like, who wants to have that miserable, like, your significant other's like yelling at you and telling you, like, you know, just all this nasty stuff. To put this into perspective, this happened in April. This birthday disaster happened in April. Less than 2 months later, she ghosted me for a month. The whole month of June, she was like, just like gone. And I was like, what's going on? I need to know what's going on with my life so I can know what I'm doing, you know? Because you can't just leave someone hanging after almost 6 years. That's bullshit, you know? I got dumped. I thought it was the worst thing ever, but it turned out being the best thing ever. Luckily, my last 2 birthdays have been pretty cool. I just, you know, the playoffs are on, so I just watch football and chill out and eat, like, Chinese food or something, you know? Just, like... And then, like, Kayla and I had, you know, a really nice time this past birthday. We went to the Hotel Bethlehem, super bougie, and we went to the Brewworks, which was sadly a terrible experience, it's heartbreaking because I had so many fun times at the Brewworks pre-COVID, man.
I always told you it was kind of shit.
I think it was just overshadowed by the fact that all the guys were together and we all just had fun. That was like what made it
so
fun.
Overpriced for
to like just go on a date with your girlfriend.
food.
It's like not fun, but to go with the guys while football is on and just be stupid, that's when it's fun.
Yeah,
and then have life talks till 2 a.m. in the parking lot. Shout out to Jack,
analyzing everything.
But yeah, so like I've luckily had a couple really cool birthdays since then. What was your perspective like from that night? Because obviously I'm sure you had things you noticed, things that you thought.
I don't know. Like I was just annoyed that like I could tell you were annoyed, and like I knew she was just being an absolute terror for you, because I saw her face and it made me really pissed off just because it's like, yo, it's not that I care about birthdays because I don't, but like, you know, for you at least she just didn't have any respect, and that pissed me off because like you've always been such a good dude, you know, and like I always wanted the best for you. Yeah. And like it just made me really upset that she would ruin any of your days, but especially like your birthday when you're trying to, you know, be in a positive mood and have fun with your family, and you know, like she should just be grateful that she was even invited to tag along to go get cake. Yeah. And Perkins, obviously, but yeah, like come on, man, like don't be a dick just because you can't drink.
Or because you can't drive.
Yeah, like
because you don't know how to drive.
Dumbass.
That's where it all started. Was her freaking out over not knowing where to turn.
Fucking stupid.
Like what?
Yeah, like just follow everybody else. Like you weren't you all like last in the line too? Like
exactly.
Like what?
And yeah, well, and that's the thing is like again, I wasn't
like you're a follower. Just follow.
I probably
you're a follower every other day. So just continue following.
I probably could have reacted in a better way.
Sure.
But at the same time, like,
but you shouldn't have had to even think about that.
Yeah,
you
like
know, like
yeah, exactly.
It was just extremely unnecessary.
And that was a trend of that relationship, was she would frequently blow up and then I would blow up because it pissed me off.
Of course.
So yeah, it was just a really unfortunate night, but it was just shitty. I hope people somehow got a laugh out of that.
Or at least related to it.
Yeah, like have you had a terrible birthday, or just a birthday that was like, wow, like that didn't go according to plan, that sucked, you know? I don't know. Leave a comment here or on Instagram or whatever, but we're not going to end this on a sad note. My 21st birthday was very subpar, but we're going to talk about you know, positive things from here on out. Lessons learned and moving forward. Like I said, you know, I've learned how to handle things better. Sometimes you get like, you really need to stay calm and just be like, assess the situation and be like, all right, look, like just pay attention, you know, like stupid stuff like that. And then, you know, not reacting so quickly or as emotionally. You need to react logically, which we just talked about too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it goes back to that old, you know, thing, like you got to hit rock bottom in order to, like, you know, build yourself back up again. And you had to do that in that relationship in order to be like, okay, this is what I want. Yeah. This is what I need from a relationship. This is what I deserve. And, you know, it's just, well, so you needed that.
Yeah. And like I said, I got dumped very shortly after that. It was a horrible experience. I was very, very like, and I'm not saying that for attention. Like, I hate when people are like, I have depression, I have anxiety. Like, stop using it as an attention tool. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I know what it's like, feel free to talk to me, or
exactly.
Get help, don't. But it's like when people use it as a crutch, it's like just,
and they just want to like continue being sad about it or whatever.
Like, do something about it. It was just a really bad time for me. Like, really, it was the lowest point of my life. And just to think like all over one person. But the great thing is as Sean said, I rebuilt myself from the ground up, and I feel like I made more progress in about 9 or 10 months. And, you know, before I met Kayla, and like, I didn't even plan on meeting Kayla. Like, I was like, you know what? Like, I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I had enough poor dating experiences where I was like, I'm just going to move to Philly with the boys. I'm going to do the podcast and music, and I'm not going to try and date anyone. I was to the point where I was like, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids.
That's always when it happens. And then when you're like, fuck it, I'm done.
And then Kayla just like literally 3 or 4 days after I said that, she was like just stumbled into my life. And it's been like, it hasn't been perfect, but it's been really cool. You know, like, I'm so like, that was just a blessing that came out of the whole thing. And like I think the biggest blessings though were like, making the connections I had with, new friends, reconnecting with old friends. I went on so many fun adventures. Even that summer, like you and I would go out, and it was like I was really upset, but like having that like just going to do something for the night, like kept my mind off of it.
Yeah, and we still had a lot of really good talks. And
oh hell yeah! Like I went to Philly a whole bunch of times. I went to Doylestown a whole bunch of times. I went to Atlantic City. I went adventuring.
Right.
Like I went to. I did things that I never would have been interested in before. Like I went to a freaking lavender farm, which I was like previously I was like, that's stupid, but I actually thought it was a lot of fun. I was like, this is pretty chill, like just to hang out there for the day and like write or just chill, like it was cool. So just lots of really cool things, met lots of cool people, reconnected with lots of cool people, had so much fun. And I went to Vermont by myself. I had never traveled by myself before. And like I went to this cabin in Vermont on top of a mountain by myself and recorded music, and it was so much fun. And that was the moment when I think I realized like I don't need anyone else. Like I can be by myself, like driving hundreds of miles from home and being somewhere where I had no cell service by myself. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Like I don't need anyone.
Yeah.
So that was like a really cool moment. But I guess just the lessons learned is like, I said it in the episode with Aaron, the PMA episode. I said, you can't grow if you never lose.
Right.
And that's like the whole,
it's true.
That's the whole lesson. So like moving forward, just life has been super cool. And again, it hasn't been perfect, but it's been really cool. Like I've done so many cool things.
Yeah, life's never going to be perfect,
Yeah.
There's always going to be something that's like not going quite right, or, something in the way, or,
Yeah, lots of lessons learned, lots of fun stuff has happened since then.
Fucking weirdo.
But let's talk about, to close the podcast now, let's talk about some fun experiences we had at the Sands.
Okay.
You and I had some phenomenal times there.
Yeah.
The one time, coincidentally, was the day I got officially dumped. You and I went and had a gluttonous celebration of a meal. Oh. I wasn't celebrating at the time, but in hindsight...
Was that the day?
That was the day. Because remember we were supposed to go to wrestling, but...
Right.
The dumping...
Right.
Took so long that we couldn't go to wrestling.
That pissed me off.
I know.
It made me really sad, because I was looking forward to that like all week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, man, like get to hang out with Matt. And then, I was pissed off at her.
Yeah. So Sean and I got to go to the Sands that night, and we went to Emeril's Burgers and More.
So good.
Sean and I are food...
I got a wedge salad with raisins and yogurt on it.
Yeah, please tell that. People
what the hell was that?
I think it was a wedge salad.
It was a wedge salad, but like what was on it? Like it just looked like milk and like
vomit,
chunky milk and raisins. Like I was so confused. Like who goes to
Emeril's
a burgers
place and More
and orders a fucking wedge salad? Like stupid old man.
It was. And weren't those people giving us like weird?
They were like
looks
staring at us like there was something wrong with us.
And like we looked normal.
Yeah, it's not like I had any offensive clothing on or anything like that. Like I'm not a teenager anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was summertime, so it's not like I was wearing like long underwear under my gym shorts like I do in the winter.
Wait.
The cat's out of the bag, guys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Emeril's Burgers and More. Super good burger place.
So good.
It's one of those things, like, you don't go there all the time because it's pricey, but the thing is like...
But it's worth it.
To have that special treat of, like, a gourmet burger that you build yourself. Because remember, it was like a little paper that you fill out.
Right.
You pick your bun, your meat, your cheese,
toppings. It was a different kind of burger experience. It was cool.
It was cool. And then their other thing is milkshakes. Burgers and shakes.
I forgot about the shakes.
And the thing is, I think the shakes
good.
were like $8.
But they were so good.
They were real. And I'm not an ice cream guy. I don't eat ice cream very often.
Yeah.
But that was like, again, I was like, you know what? I'm starting over. Like, let's do something out of the ordinary.
I'm starting over. I'm going to be a fat ass again.
Yeah. And I think the meal, and not to say that this is like the most expensive meal ever, but like to spend, it was like $53 or $55 on 2 burgers and 2 shakes. Like, compared to a diner, that's
I mean, you can't compare a restaurant to a diner. You know what I mean? It's just not the same.
But it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's so good. Go ahead. Come on.
I was reborn at Emeril's Burgers and More.
God.
I was baptized in beef.
baptized in beef.
Oh my god. Here, there's always that, where do I go from here? But I think that was like the best possible thing, because like, if we didn't have those plans, I probably would have just came and sat in my room. But instead, we went out. And was that the night that we got yelled at in the Giant for you piggybacking on me? Do you remember that?
Wasn't that Walmart that happened at?
It was. Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Because we were like horsing around.
Because we kind of got kicked out of Walmart, sort of, and then we just went to Giant and goofed around.
Right.
That's what it was.
I mean, we were being ridiculous that night, like extra, but...
Yeah, we went to Walmart, and Sean like jumped on my back and was like putting me in a chokehold.
Yeah.
And then some old lady employee was like,
she said
something like, "How old are you? Don't you know any better?"
Right.
Son, he jumped off of me, and I was like, "I'm 7 years old." And then we left. We went to Giant and just poked holes in the hamburger rolls then or something. It's crazy to think too. That was barely 2 years ago,
dude. Yeah.
Think about how much like we've done since then, or like how much has changed since then.
Everything's changed.
It's wild just to think that was such a short time ago, but yet life is so much more positive.
Thank you, God.
I don't know. It's just...
Let us pray.
So that's what I did.
Oh, shit. 4.
I said I wasn't going to do it again, but I
4
whipped it out.
You just gotta... You had to do it.
And then the other fun experience we had at the Sands. This is the one I'm glad we're going to end on this, because this was such a fun...
Great night.
Dude.
Great night.
I frequently, when I'm at work, I think about this all the time. So the other night that Sean and I spent at the Sands Casino, so the Sands, it's not just a casino, it's also a concert venue. I've seen A Day to Remember there. I've seen the Wonder Years there. I saw TNA wrestling there, like live. If you watched the event, I'm in the front row with Momo.
I almost saw Megadeth there, but then COVID and...
Yeah, so like it's a venue, and I like it. I've heard so many people say it's a terrible venue, and I've always had fun there.
I don't see how it could be terrible.
There's not a bad seat in the house. So the Sands concert venue, Sean and I got to see WWE NXT was coming to the Sands, and it was one of those things where we had gone to Q-Mart Wrestling, we had gone to Allentown, like the WXW stuff.
It had been a really long time since we saw WWE together.
The last time we had seen WWE, I think I was like 10.
Stabler, right?
Yeah. I was going into the 5th grade the next day or something like that.
That's crazy, man.
So it had been like a good 9 or 10 years.
That was a good one.
Oh,
that was really good.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was the best WWE event I was to.
What, the one that's
besides
Stabler?
NXT?
Yeah,
NXT. NXT.
Well, because remember that was like Batista was there, John Cena was there, CM Punk, JBL, Kofi.
I never sat that close.
Yeah, we were pretty close.
And like, I mean, what was that one match? It was John Cena and Batista versus
Kane and Chris
Jericho.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I was like, yo, Kane is massive. Yeah. And Batista gets up on the turnbuckle and he flexes and you're like, holy shit.
So much
And then
fun.
Chris Jericho, you're like, wow, man, like he's so short.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I still love you though, Chris.
Yeah.
Love you.
Even though you
love
look
you,
like
Mr. Jericho.
Even though you look like a dumpy dad now.
Hey, it's okay. We all get there.
Hey, he's one of the greatest of all time. I can't say anything about him.
He's still in a shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he can still do things that I can't.
Fucking lion salts and whatnot.
Yeah, great time. You and I guess. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. We hadn't seen WWE in a long time.
Yeah.
So when NXT for those who don't know is like the developmental. It's like the minor leagues for WWE. That's where they send all their people who are in training or who they're trying to train to wrestle the WWE style, because but
they're better than the main show.
Yeah, it's more it's more entertaining than the main show. They have more freedom to do what they want, because wrestling is an art form. I will literally sit and talk for hours to anyone who doesn't know wrestling, but Sean and I are like, we gotta go to NXT. Like, NXT is so good. We had the opportunity and we took it. So this night in particular, so the Sands being in Southside Bethlehem, I was off from work that day and the day after. That was actually when I had both of my front tires were flat. And right before you came over, my boss was yelling at me on the phone because I had to call out because both of my front tires were flat and my mechanic couldn't get me in until like the next day or something. And I remember just being like, dude, fuck this. I'm not going to work tomorrow. Let's go to wrestling. Like, you know. So we had time to kill because the event wasn't until like 7.
Wait, what? We had time to waste.
Time to waste. And I'm not sorry. Such a basket case. Hide the cutlery. You know what? That's the second time we've made a time to waste joke on the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we did on one of the other ones.
Huh. Great song, man.
So good.
I love that song.
Crimson, really good album.
It's been a while since I've listened.
It's different
honestly.
than their
Yeah,
other
it's
stuff.
very different. Welcome back to the Alkaline Trio podcast.
We'll have to do a whole episode just about them.
Yeah.
That would be pretty. I love Matt Skiba. Always
Yeah.
will. Matt Skiba, please sponsor me.
Yeah.
I hope you're listening. But yeah, so we were going to NXT and we had pretty much the whole day because you came over like in the afternoon, and I was like, hey man, let's go to the pawn shop where I sold our old amp. It was a hand-me-down from you to me, and then I sold it to the pawn shop after like I got a new amp.
Good stuff.
So we went to the pawn shop. It was no longer there. Someone bought it. So if you're listening, I doubt you are. I hope you're enjoying the crate.
Come on. The crate.
But we went to the pawn shop and like we were just looking at like everything, and the guy behind the counter just
that was the same day, wasn't it?
Just started talking to us.
Yeah.
And we stood there for probably a good hour and a half just talking video games, music,
well,
like
then we were talking about like skate, right?
BMX and skating.
Yeah.
We brought up like Skate 3 or how we wish there'd be a new skate game.
Yeah. For newer gen systems.
And then you guys, I think we're talking about like Dave Mira,
Yes.
the BMX games.
God.
And then he was showing you some game that was like skate, but it was BMX, like, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's right.
Like we had this really cool conversation with this guy, and it basically got to the point where we were like, okay, we got to leave because like I'm out of time on the meter. You know, 'cause it was street parking. Like we're like, we got to go. Sorry, man.
We gotta go.
But it was really cool. Like, and you could tell that, you know, it was a slower day, and we genuinely made this guy's day.
Hell yeah.
Or we made each other's day. I don't want to sound self-centered.
No.
It was like we had a really fun time talking to him. So that was really cool. So then we head over. I think we got Wawa then because they had cold brew. Yep. It was beginning of summer.
Yep.
So we got cold brew, and then you were like, well, what do you want to do? We still have like 3 hours before the show.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
We went to the same outlet mall that the meltdown happened at in the Cake Factory. We went to this mall, and we just like walked around all the stores.
Yeah.
And we have a picture. Every time we walked past, there was this giant mural on the wall of this huge picture of, and Emerald's in the background.
Wait, what?
Sean and I would walk past. We walked past probably like 2 or 3 times because I think to get to the bathroom, you had to walk past it or something.
Maybe.
Big picture of Buddy the Baker. And every time we walk past it, Sean would go, fuck you, buddy. Just like, yeah, it was just like one of those stupid things. Like, and it's like you do it once and you do it twice.
Still like your cakes, buddy.
And then it just becomes like an inside joke, you know?
Yeah.
So he took this picture of me in front of it, you know, like we're just goofing around. We end up in this store where they have all different types of beef jerky or just jerky in general.
Yeah, jerky, hot sauce,
nuts,
peanuts,
chocolate-covered espresso,
beans.
It is just like one of those things where we wandered in there.
Just snacks and snacks upon snacks.
And the nice lady who was working there just started chatting with us and was like, hey, like, you guys from around here? Like, you want to try anything? Yeah. And she basically let us try, like, whatever we wanted. Like, she would say, like, I can't let you try anymore because, like, I'm only allowed to give out so many free samples, but she would just give us anyways. Like,
yeah, it was pretty cool.
And then we had to talk. I think you said something about how you're, like, you know, an Army vet, and she was talking about how they're, like, super supportive of the troops there. And that was, like, one of the reasons why we wanted to go back. And, you know, it sucks, like, we always said, like, we got to go back there, and, like, we haven't gone back. Because it's just, like, one of those things you don't think about doing.
Yeah.
Because there's so much other stuff to do.
Well, because it's, like, one store, and then, like, you have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, the little outlet mall is, like, so tiny.
The reason why we were there was because we were going to wrestling.
Yeah.
But so we chat with this lady for probably a good half hour, 45 minutes. We try a bunch of different chocolate-covered espresso beans. They had hot sauces. They had, you know, you name it, jerkies.
Yep.
Wild things. Great experience. Another person who really brightened the day, or I hope that we brightened her day because she was very pleasant.
Mutual.
Yeah. And then, so we got to the point where we killed enough time. We were like hungry, but we were like, nah, we got to save the hunger for the Trivet trip afterwards because we went to Trivet.
Oh yeah.
So we were like,
going to the other side of the world for diner food.
You know, every time we go to Trivet, it's always a trek to the other side of the universe.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So then we're waiting to go into wrestling, and we end up meeting a third person.
Yeah.
The doors didn't open for like another hour and a half, and the security guard who's working there, he's just like, hey, like, I don't even remember how I think he was just like, are you guys here for the wrestling? But this security guard, he's probably like my age.
Yeah.
Just this, this young guy. He's like, just starts chatting it up with us.
Yeah.
And we we just talked to him until the doors opened and we could go in.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. He had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, did you write that down at all? Because I know I didn't.
I thought you subscribed to him.
Did I?
I think you did. But really nice guy. Another person that we had just this mutual connection with that day.
Yeah, because he was a fan as well.
Yeah, we talked wrestling. We talked because AEW had
video
been announced.
Games. Yeah,
and
that's right.
It had been announced, but it wasn't like started yet. So we talked a lot about that. We were like, "Is this the change?" Like,
when people already had shirts.
Yeah,
remember that?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just really cool guys. So it's like
crazy.
3 people that we had really nice encounters with.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it's weird. I haven't had an experience like that since.
Well, it's kind of hard to now.
Yeah. But like where it's just like multiple, like one after another, like every place you go, people want to hang out and talk.
Very peculiar.
But it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was like we bent the universe. So then like we went in, watched wrestling. One of the best wrestling shows I've ever been to. Keith Lee.
Matt Riddle. Oh, man. So good.
It was such
what a spectacle.
It was such a fun night. And
just
we had
watching him
seats.
flip his sandals off, his flip-flops.
That was the first time I'd ever seen him wrestle. You were like, have you seen this guy? And I was like,
flips into the ring and kicks off his flip-flops. And the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah, and then Keith Lee just looks like 10 guys mashed into one. He's huge.
But he can move.
But he flips around and so much fun. It just that was one of those nights that was just like I don't know, just such a good experience, man. And then afterwards,
that was a great night.
Sean and I, as you may know if you've listened to the podcast, always diner trip after wrestling.
You have to.
Went to the legendary Trivet, which is across the universe, but they were 24 hours, and we wanted food and finished off the night there. But there were some terrible times at the Sands, but then there were also some really fun times.
Yep.
My point is like, if I had to give anyone advice, it would just be like, don't let anyone ever hold you back.
Yeah. Always
be pushing to, do something differently with yourself or pushing yourself to grow. And it doesn't have to be these huge, strides of, change. It just has to be just try and better yourself constantly.
Yeah.
The little things are what count.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
And the rest will fall into place.
Don't let someone dictate who you are or how you live your life.
Yeah.
And just have fun.
Stay true.
So that's what
shit!
I'm not doing. But yeah, no, just, lots of stuff to digest. I know it was a bit of a weird episode. But I thought it would be just a
roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, very perfect way to sum it up. I just I was like, this was such a ridiculous time in my life that I wanted to share it, and hopefully you got a laugh out of some of it. Whether it was
laughing at your pain,
laughing at my pain. Yeah, I love when people I love making an ass of myself because I'm always trying to get the laughs. Yeah. So if you found my
sad clown,
if you found my clowncore.
Clowncore, yeah.
If you found my situation to be comical, I hope so. I mean, I hope you got a laugh out of something. Or if it was just my dad eating slop at Perkins,
oh god,
yeah, I don't know. Or just something that Sean and I said that may have been ridiculous at some point. Hope you got a laugh out of it. If you enjoyed what you heard, give us a follow. We have much more to come, much more behind us. Lots of different things to talk about. Check back. We post every 2 weeks. We're in the midst of season 3 currently. We have lots of fun stuff coming up, plus a 4-man meat finale, whatever the hell I called it earlier. I don't even remember.
What was that? Yeah.
We have a crazy finale coming up at the end of the season. We got much more to come in between now and then. Give us a follow. You can also check us out, Fueled by Coffee Pod on Instagram. We have merch. Give us a follow. Hit us up. We thank you. I thank you for your support, and we will see you on the next Fueled by Coffee podcast. Don't let anyone ruin your birthday.